Welcome to the Google Cloud Security Showcase, a special web series where we will focus on security use cases that customers can solve with Google Cloud. My name is Albert and I'm a networking specialist at Google Cloud. Today, we will be walking through one of the top questions we get from customers: how to migrate to network firewall policies with tags for enhanced microsegmentation. Let's get started. We recently launched network firewall policies to replace VPC firewall rules with equivalent and enhanced functionality. We will support VPC firewall rules in the short term to help with migration, and you should be thinking about migrating all these VPC firewall rules to a network firewall policy. Because of that, we have worked in-house and have developed a migration tool. Let's discuss now how to effectively migrate from VPC firewall rules to network firewall policies. At a high level, what the migration tool does is to create a global network firewall policy and to copy existing VPC firewall rules into the global network firewall policy. Please note that the migration tool does not delete existing VPC firewall rules. Users can then attach the network firewall policy to a VPC, and once it works as intended, the existing VPC firewall rules can be removed. The best way to verify this is to enable firewall logging on both the existing VPC firewall rules and the new network firewall policy. After the evaluation order has been swapped to evaluate the new global policy first, you can review the firewall logs to confirm that the new network firewall policy rules are evaluated and hit as intended, and the hit count for the equivalent VPC firewall rules are shadowed and no longer getting hits. This provides a good indication that the migration tool is working as intended. If two or more firewall rules have the same priority, the migration tool will automatically update it to avoid collisions. Please review the priorities auto-generated by the migration tool to make sure they are acceptable. This new assigned priority is created to ensure the relative sequence of the original rules are respected. Please note the network firewall policy cannot exist, since the migration tool will create it. Logging will be kept as is for any migration, meaning that if a VPC firewall rule has logging turned on, the migration tool will leave it on, and in case it is off, it will keep it off. If VPC firewall rules do not contain network tags or service accounts, it will be a straightforward migration process requiring a single command. In case that VPC firewall rules do contain network tags or service accounts, there is an additional step required. If a VPC firewall rule leverages network tags, users should create the required tags that will serve as replacement to those network tags, meaning that all network tags will require a tag creation for the required mapping if the exact configuration needs to be maintained. And similarly, if a firewall rule leverages service accounts, users should pre-create the required tags equivalent to those service accounts, meaning that all service accounts will require a tag creation for a one-to-one mapping if the exact configuration needs to be maintained. The second step here is to leverage a JSON file to map the existing network tags and service accounts to tags. Additionally, ensure that those tags are properly attached to your workloads. By default, VPC firewall rules are evaluated before firewall policies, but users can swap the evaluation order to evaluate global network firewall policies first using a gcloud command. The first gcloud command here is the default evaluation order, so it is already effective, and now, if users want to swap the order, so network firewall policies are evaluated before VPC firewall rules, users can execute the second gcloud command here, where we specify that network firewall policies must be evaluated before the VPC firewall rules. Let me walk you through a quick demo to illustrate how the migration tool works. In order to access your firewall rules, please navigate to VPC and Firewall. What we want to do now is to migrate all the VPC firewall rules on our staging VPC to a network firewall policy. Here we have a combination of firewall rules with CIDR blocks, with service accounts, and also with network tags. First, you need to ensure that tags replacing network tags and service accounts are properly attached to your workloads. Let's now use the migration tool to export the tag mappings being used in your VPC firewall rules, which need to be associated with tags. This command will export all network tags and service accounts in your VPC firewall rules and export them in a JSON file. Next, we need to edit the JSON file to create your required mappings. Make sure to use the right syntax. As you can see, there is a combination of network tags and service accounts indicated by SA. The next step is to edit the file and ensure that there is a correct mapping between network tags and service accounts and tags. For convenience, I have already pre-created the file, so I'll paste it here. Right, I'm going to save it. The last step here is to start the migration process. And for that, we need to attach the JSON mapping file, and once it is executed, this should complete the migration. So the migration now is complete. The next step is to associate the network firewall policy with a VPC. This is the network firewall policy, staging network firewall policy. So we will click on it. And we need to go to associations and add an association. We will attach that to the staging share VPC. So we can see now that the network firewall policy got attached to the staging share VPC. And we can go back to the network firewall policy here. Please note that the enforcement order between the VPC firewall rules and the global network firewall policy can be swapped. Existing VPC firewall rules can be removed after you confirm the newly created network firewall policy works as intended. The best way to verify this is to enable firewall logging on both the existing VPC firewall rules and the new network firewall policy. After the evaluation order has been swapped to evaluate the new global policy first, you can review firewall insights and the firewall logs to confirm that the new network firewall policy rules are evaluated and hit as intended, and the hit count for the equivalent VPC firewall rules are shadowed and no longer getting hits. Customers can specify the enforcement order at any time with a gcloud command. You will realize that the network firewall enforcement order indicates that after classic firewall, also known as VPC firewall rules. You can change that with the following gcloud command. And now you should see that the network firewall policy will be evaluated before VPC firewall rules. Please leverage logs and firewall insights to ensure the migration process is working as intended. This concludes the security showcase on how to migrate to network firewall policies with tags for enhanced microsegmentation. Thank you for tuning in. Please visit cloud.google.com/security for more content from Google Cloud experts. Thank you.